everybody. My name is Angel, and welcome to Angel's Opinions. In this video, I will be ranking from most scary to least scary the Dead by Daylight killers. I thought this was a pretty good first video because it will be very opinionated, because what scares me might not scare you, but also with the recent announcement of Springtrap being added to the game, I thought it would be a fun video to start. In complete interest of fairness and letting you guys know, I only have like 35-ish hours in the game, but I still love the game and I'm actively playing it. I only got it a couple weeks ago and I haven't been able to stop. We're going to try and go in the order of release for the most part, the order that this tier list is in, starting with the Trapper. Now, I want to make one thing very clear. I decided I wanted to do this on the go, so immediate opinions. And the Trapper, in my opinion, is kind of spooky. I won't say he scares me, but the laying the traps, it's very Jason, and I'd be more scared of Jason, but I'm not of Evan, or the Trapper, as he's known as. The next up is the Wraith. The Wraith can turn invisible, and that's all it's got going for you. Meh. His look is cool, but I just don't get fear from him. When I'm playing the game, I love when I'm most fearful and afraid, because I genuinely want to avoid the killer as a survivor, which makes it even more scary and amazing when you are caught, or you're in a difficult position and they're hunting you, and that's just so fun to me. Next up is the Hillbilly, who I think is pretty spooky. Probably more spooky than the Trapper. The Hillbilly, to be honest, and you'll see this later with the Cannibal Leatherface, anything with a chainsaw and a bit of a messed up look is inherently spooky. I just think that we could probably get a bit more out of Billy. Oh, the old Hillbilly. But, c'est la vie. Next up, we already have our first terrifying with the Nurse. Honestly, her look and the way she moves, and she appears out of nowhere, genuinely, every time I load into a game as a survivor, I get so stressed about the idea of having to face this woman. I think I've ever escaped once against her. Every other time, I'm dead. If you are playing against someone who's a really good nurse player, you have zero chance. And here we have our first scary with the Hag. Honestly, anything that has ritual and religious tones instantly makes it a little bit on the scarier side for me. It's the same thing with kids in movies. You know, you look at horror movies, and I think some of the scariest things in horror movies is when just kids being creepy. And religion is kind of the same thing for me in horror, especially when you're adding little symbols that you can teleport to and come out of nowhere. If you don't realize they've left a mark, which in the modern game I think it's a bit easier to see, but if you can be genuinely jump scared by this, and it completely messes you up. Here we have our first proper difficult one with the Shape himself, Michael Myers. I just recently, in the last couple of days, rewatched the 2018 threequel of Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. And Michael, when I was younger, I would say was terrifying. As I've gotten older and gotten into adulthood, I would say he's closer to a meh or spooky. But in Dead by Daylight, I reckon he's definitely top of spooky. There's something super intimidating about just turning around and he's just staring at you with the whole stalking ability. I had a game the other day where I looked left, I looked right, I looked back to left, and he was just there. And it's just something so inherently creepy about that. And I kind of love it. Next up is the Doctor. The Doctor's look is scary alone. Add the fact he shocks you and the mental and physical side of it, and the fact that I think genuinely a good player as the Doctor can rack up hits and eventually hooks and kills is enough alone for me to make him scary. The Huntress, yeah, I'm going to give you a hint now. That is the scariest character in the game. I don't know what it is, whether it's the idea of just a woman with an axe humming, or I don't know. But that lullaby, every time I hear it, sends a chill down my spine. Also, I think she's incredibly strong. You get a good Huntress player, you're losing 100% of the time. Because, Jesus, those throws can be dead on. Well, we said it before. I think they're pretty spooky to begin with. Leatherface. A lot like Billy, but he eats people. You'll move on. Freddy also joins in with this crew. You'll notice that the movie crew ones... There we go. The movie crew ones kind of will end up in spooky. Because, well, I know the stories. Freddy is very close to meh to me, though, so I'm actually going to put him at the bottom. Because he is so weak in the game, and I think that's terrible for one of the most iconic characters in horror history. Next up, we have the Pig. This is bottom of meh, honestly. It's just a woman with a knife. That's what it is. It's Amanda from the Saw movies. I don't think there's much more to say. Is that a clown? You know it's the clown. And you know, he's pretty scary looking. I think gameplay-wise, he's frustrating. I don't like playing as him. I don't see a lot of people who enjoy playing as him too much. I don't enjoy playing against him. But I just enjoy the look, and the look alone is what makes him scary. And I'm trying to mainly judge off of looks plus backstory and all that stuff. You can add a bunch of stuff to it, but anything that's a clown is immediately pretty scary to me. The Spirit. This sounds like a spooky one to me, just above Freddy. I don't know, just anything that's ghostly, I think has to be inherently spooky. Legion, not scary. I think the idea of Legion is scarier than what the design of Legion is. Seeing Legion in all its glory is not terrifying, but the idea that this is something that could happen to a couple of teenagers down the street from you, and you wouldn't even know that they snap, they form a bond, and then this happens, and that's the creepy part for it for me. The Plague. You know, what did I say about religion and stuff? Scary, but not scary. Anything that involves religion can become inherently terrifying so quickly, especially if you can just fully connect and go into it. That's just how I feel. Ghostface. Just above Michael. I think a lot more people are better at Ghostface than Michael, which what makes him a bit more spooky, but they're inherently the same ability with the whole stalking and being quiet thing. The Demogorgon. I hope I said that correctly. I have not watched Stranger Things. Gameplay-wise, it's very meh. I don't care for him. But look-wise, definitely high end of spooky. Gameplay-wise, it would be just meh, but because we're going off looks also, the spooky factor has to come in. I love the look of its head just opening up like a flower. It reminds me a little bit of Little Shop of Horrors. Feed Me, Seymour. Love that movie. And I just can't help but love it. The Oni, honestly, is pretty scary. A samurai who's basically unstoppable sounds pretty terrifying to me. But at the other end, we have a guy with a gun. Not scary. Maybe it's because I live in Australia and we have gun laws. Who knows? But comparing it to other horror characters and slashers and all that, the gun with a chain and rolling them in just isn't scary to me. It feels like a knockout. Not a knockout, but a knockoff, a cheap. And I hate saying that, but he isn't scary to me. But I do think he's really cool. And if you get a good player playing as him, he can get kind of frustrating, but in a good way. The Executioner, better known as Pyramid Head. he's high. He's high and spooky. He is very high and spooky. He is one I dread playing because I know every time I pull down a plank, I'm still going to get hit with those bloody barbed wire through the ground and all that, and it's going to lead to my death. I don't think I've beaten Pyramid Head yet, and I don't think I will for a while. He is just frustratingly good. But also, he's just spooky with the way he moves in the game, and I have to give him that. The Blight, that's pretty scary to me. What if Ghostface became, well, a bit more brown and a bit more light out of the mouth? I've kind of just realised how close to design the two of them actually are. I know, the Blight is just visually something I don't like, and I don't think I can put my finger on it. When I say I don't like it, it's a good don't like. It makes me feel uneasy. And I can't explain why, but it just does. Next up, we have the Twins, and the Twins is very much a meh. Maybe it's because it's one of the few characters in the game I haven't faced yet that it makes me feel meh. But I've looked into backstories and I've seen gameplay of it, and it looks frustrating. From what I've heard, it's frustrating, and I struggle to care. And honestly, it reminds me of that South Park, early South Park, where the nurse had a dead fetus on its head. Next up is the Trickster. Yeah, this is not scary. Bottom are not scary. By the way, the Gunslinger's above Legion. Yeah, the Trickster's not scary to me at all. In fact, I think Trickster is the second most frustrating one to fight. I hate fighting Trickster as a survivor. For some reason, he just annoys me so much. And I don't even want to get into it. Even just thinking about it annoys me. The Nemesis. Oh, this is a mix of annoying versus kind of scary, so you know what that means. Middle of spooky. Right between Michael and Bubba. Good old Bubba. Yeah, I hear very mixed reviews with him. I haven't played as him, but I've played against him. And playing against him, I think he's quite frustrating to play against. And I've heard other people love playing against him. And playing for or as him sounds like a 50-50 experience too. So I don't really know how to feel about that. Here we have the Cenobite, or Cenobite, however you wish to pronounce it. Pinhead, who is no longer in the game due to his license being pulled. So I actually have never played against Pinhead, actually. Unfortunately. But I've looked at some of his stuff in the game, and I think he's pretty meh. Pinhead was actually one of the movies I grew up on. Weirdly, I grew up on horror way too soon. When I was 5 years old, the first horror movie I watched was when I was 5. It was Freddy's Dead. So I kind of have been acclimated into horror for a long time, and I don't know, I watched the Hellraisers growing up, and they didn't scare me like Michael, or Ghostface, or Bubba, or Jason, So he's always been meh to me, and from what I've seen from his gameplay, he was pretty meh to begin with. The Artist. So this is where we go into unjustly meh. Because I think, design-wise, character-wise, I think she looks pretty goddamn cool. But I wouldn't say she looks scary. I don't think she is overly scary, but her design, I think she looks pretty sick. Here we have the Onryo. The Onryo? Onryo. Here's the problem, is I hear this pronounced 100 different ways from everyone I ask. I've asked different people how to pronounce it in their way, and they have their opinion, I have mine, and it's hard to decide who's right, who's wrong, and I think it comes through different nationalists, different accents, different countries. My English is not good today. Well, I think she's going to join the rest of the Team Spooky. From what I've seen from her, I reckon she's just above the Hillbilly, but below Leatherface. I've yet to verse her, so maybe when I verse her it'll be different, but from what I've seen, it's pretty good. There's a handful of these I haven't versed yet. I can only go off of what I've watched, and I've gone on my way to watch before making this, and I think you can tell I'm doing this on the go because I don't want to come in with any pre-things of, oh, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. I want to give my honest reaction as I'm going. The Dredge, look alone is terrifying, but gameplay-wise, I'm going to drop him to the top of scary. I just feel, and I think it's the frustration I get when I've played against the Dredge a couple times that's dropped him down, because I just get super frustrated playing against him. I think it's just as simple as that. Hey, look, another human. Let's put him with the other humans in not scary. In fact, he's just above Trickster and just below Legion. I don't know. I'm not. I know he's technically not fully human because mutation and stuff like that, but I just don't care for the Mastermind. And the Knight can join him, and he can be below the. He can be above the Knight though. These are 5 characters I just visually am completely disappointed at. I don't care about them visually, and I want them to be better. I like a good creepy look. I just knocked the mic, sorry. Here we have the Skull Merchant. This is another one where I kind of have to go off just look alone, because I haven't watched much with them, and I haven't ever seen them in a game. And from what I've seen, her look is not scary. So I guess, congratulations, welcome to Not Scary. But I do like her look more than the Mastermind, I think. I think that's a better look than the Mastermind. So she goes there, I guess. The Singularity. Bottom of meh. I don't know. I fought him 3 times. I found him frustrating, and I just didn't like his look that much. I thought he was meh. Let's put the Xenomorph up here. Just before Michael. Honestly, these could go either way. Michael and Xenomorph. I've heard it both ways. I love the Alien franchise. I do. I know there's some people out there who don't like them, but I love them. And I think he's a fun one to play against. Since the nerf, I've seen footage of before the nerf, and Jesus Christ, he was clearly very frustrating. I've had fun playing against him post nerf, obviously, because that's when I started playing. But I do think that tail is so overpowered, but it's fun to get away when you can. This is a controversial one. Meh. I just don't find Chucky scary. I've seen all the movies, I've seen the show, I even saw the remake with, oh no, I'm Mark Hamill. I'm like, I can't believe I forgot Mark Hamill's name for 10 seconds then. But yeah, I've seen everything to do with Chucky, and honestly, Bride and Seed have really, really, really made me not fear Chucky. And the Chucky TV series is not terrifying at all. So he's meh to begin with, and honestly, when you see him in a game, I can't help but laugh with the size of him compared to everything else. The Unknown. Yeah, let's just put that at the top. Just below the nerfs. The Unknown is just so gnarly looking in a good way. I've only played against him once, and I died quickly, very quickly. I got put up on a hook probably 2 minutes into the game, and no one came and saved me, so I just died on the hook, which was annoying. But that little bit of him being in the game was terrifying. It's hard to explain, but the look is just amazing, and I love a creepy look. As you can see, as you look up here, the creepier the look, the better. And talking about creepy looks, well, this one isn't one. The Lich. Yeah, he's pretty spooky, I guess. But below Freddy, though. I don't know much about the Lich. I know it's a D&D reference. I've played a little bit of D&D a couple times, but not much. I watch a lot of D&D shows. But that's all I can tell you. I've never versed him, and I kind of haven't looked at anything with him. He's the only one I didn't really care enough to look at. Sorry, but I don't care. If you like him, fine, but look alone, I think he looks kind of spooky. Okay, yeah, Dracula, the Dark Lord, as he's known as in the game. Just above Trickster. This is another one I haven't played against, and I haven't seen too much of. But honestly, look at that. He's pretty daddy. Look at that look. it's hard to be scared of something that attractive. The Houndmaster, are you human? You know where you're going. But you're definitely creepier than Legion. I like the dog aspect. I've versed the Houndmaster twice, and both times that dog was so annoying, but I kind of like the aspect of it. It was pretty cool. And I think she actually has a decent look, but it's not overly scary to me. I think the dog makes it less scary to me because I just immediately in my head I'm like, oh, it's a puppy. Hello, puppy. And I want to pet it. And lastly, we have the Ghoul. Look alone could be scary, but gameplay has ruined this man for me. So he goes bottom of spooky. He could be right here, honestly, off of how scary he is. But he goes to bottom of spooky because I've never beaten the Ghoul and I have versed like 40 of them and I've had enough of losing. I don't know why, but the Ghoul is hell. And I just can't explain why. The Ghoul seems to be the worst thing in the world for me. And I've had multiple games or multiple sessions while I'm playing where it's just 6 games in a row where it's the Ghoul. I'll get a Michael thrown in the middle, and then it's another 3 more with the Ghoul, and then I get a Legion in there, and then I get annoyed because I hate the bloody Legion games half the time. It's just, it's frustrating. But according to me, at least, and this is my opinion, you're welcome to have your own, and I actually encourage you to spread your opinion, because I'd love to have a discussion about it within the comments. To me, the Huntress is the scariest, the Trickster's the least scariest. What's your opinion? Let me know. Thank you for joining me on Angel's Opinions today. Ta-ta.